I don't have a it's good, it's bad opinion about it. I want to observe it as a term and as a field that's being developed. It's currently under construction, I think. I'd be interested to see how it is in the Anglo-American world, because I don't think there are too many art PhD programs there. But as a research, it's like one of those research or one of those programs that is not a department on its own. It's a program, and it draws from all different other departments, like interdisciplinary. I think so that artistic research draws from all sorts of research methods, social sciences, scientific, etc. And in that way, like one thing I want to say, how to avoid being an amateur sociologist or amateur anthropologist, and really make it an artistic research. So then in that way, I would say the process, not the means to an end aspect, but the process, but of course the production element of that process. I think more investigation of that would be great, to really make it an artistic research. I think it's important to think about, so not research method process, but the production element of that process as we go along. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think there's not enough attention paid on that level from what I've observed. Anyway, I still would support it in the sense that it's hard to redo. In the sense that from what Hannah Arendt has said about when one does in scientific research, what gets produced at the end has a different life in the world, affects the world differently, whereas what the outcome of an artistic research exists in the world in its own particular way. And so the overturning and the rejection of what was before that drives research, it's different in art than in social science or in natural sciences. Also, I think that the instrumentalization, if we look at it very specifically, is also different from the way scientific research and social science research is used. Is also has very different ramification and echo in the world than the instrumentalization of what's produced in artistic research. And in that way, I think it's really essential for this form of research to continue and to, well, hone itself and define itself. Not that it stays static or it stays as one thing, but to continually change and mutate itself, but to articulate itself further. It's absolutely essential. It's just so that the way we can overturn in art, I think that violence is, in a way, an emancipatory violence that is very different from the way, well, the world is, the way how violence is talked about exists in the world. And in that way, I don't know, I would like to see more of it. And I in a way, that's where I cast my vote for artistic research.
Could you elaborate a bit, like this Arendt thing on atomic bomb?
Yeah. The sense that, I think Arendt's point is so important because sometimes in the art world, we want to say, oh, but artistic research is kind of like social science research or scientific, natural science research. And I employ Arendt to say, well, not really, because in Arendt's analysis in her book on violence of scientific research and the ramifications of that is very different from, I think, what happens in the artistic research, in that the scientists have developed and created an atomic bomb, and it cannot be undone, or it can be undone with something even more the next step to atomic bomb. But whereas in the artistic research, yes, somebody does research about self-organization or kino eye or whatever, and that it has a very different existence in our world, in our society. So in that way, I mean, it's that's where I also bring in violence, that the overturning that's necessary, it exists in the world very differently when we talk about production. And in that way, I want to stress again, how is the process production, what is the relationship of that in the artistic research? I would like more people to address that so that we define it further, what this is and what it could be also.